Hello everybody, Ckixy here, and today I got something really exciting to show you all. So I finally have an official update for the frequency transmitter and database. So if you remember my previous video, it was sort of unofficial because I didn't publicly allow you guys to download the map and all that because it just was not user-friendly whatsoever, and I didn't want to officially release it because it just did not work how I wanted it. So the idea itself and concept was a pretty good idea. Basically, it took my original design and made a portable transmitter that was very nice and compact, that took up basically no room, and then it would access a database which took up tons and tons of room, but you could put it somewhere that you didn't really care about and it wasn't in the way. So like I said, it was a good idea in theory, but it had some major flaws in it. And one of those major flaws is every single one of the comparison command blocks required exact coordinates. And that means that with 3 item frames, or a 3 item or 3 combination lock, there are 512 possible outputs. And so that means 512 command blocks that you would have to type in coordinates manually that are relative to your world. And so that's a pretty huge flaw because I wanted it to be user friendly and not require them to do tons and tons and tons of work. So now what we could do is go back to my original design over here, which was the one that was portable. So that means that it used all relative coordinates, so you could just take it and put it in whatever world you wanted, and it worked. Now this was pretty good working, but the issue with it is everywhere you have a teleporter, you have a database or decoder behind it. And so that wasn't really good because it took up a lot of room behind the walls, so you couldn't have compact areas, and it just was not really all that efficient. So now all we have to do is come over here and we kind of basically just put both of them together. So I want to give a huge shout out to Neon Clear Gaming. He gave me the idea to compare just the comparators, and I kind of had this thought a while ago, but some reason I wasn't thinking, and I was like, what if there's just 3 comparators somewhere throughout the world that had to do with an invention? And then I accidentally compared those, but then common sense set in and I decided that it would never accidentally compare comparators because it required so much other stuff to happen to compare those. So I went along with the idea, and it allows us to do some very interesting things. So if you know, my very first design used basically a frequency transmitter that was local to the database, and then my second one used one that was portable. So I kind of compared the two, and this right here is the one that is local. So you see I have 3 comparators here that are local to the transmitter or to the decoder itself. So these decoder command blocks, the test4 blocks, are able to use completely relative coordinates to compare the comparators within there to these ones right here. And now all we do is we use a clone command to clone the comparators and their signals that are local to the frequency transmitter, and then it's able to teleport them locally to the decoder itself. And so this is very helpful. So you can see those are off currently, and if I click this button, they turn on temporarily. And so if you're wondering why they're just temporarily, basically once they teleport, Minecraft like pings them and is like, are you supposed to be on? And then the comparator itself checks around it to see if it's supposed to be on, and then it sends the information back to Minecraft and it says, no, I'm not supposed to be on, and then Minecraft shuts them off. So luckily this takes a few seconds, so temporarily they're actually on, and that amount of time that they're on gives us just enough time to actually test them. So you can see we have a slight delay from the redstone that activates the machine to the command block that clones the comparators. And this allows us just enough time to actually test them. So you can see if I twist some of the dials, you can see I could change the frequency that it uses, and then I could change like this one, and it changes the frequency that is set. So this is very helpful because it allows us to have a portable transmitter, but then it keeps the database using completely local coordinates. And so this is basically as user-friendly as I could get it, but you could see I have one set of exact coordinates here, and I have one set of exact coordinates in here. And so the first one is a redstone block that is set into this little opening here, and then the second one right here is testing for this comparator here, and then it clones it acrossways. So all you have to do is you take a block, put it into this opening, press F3, and then where it says looking at, this coordinate right here is what you put into the set block redstone block. And so these are two different designs for the frequency transmitter, and so this one would be the set block on this design, and this would be the set block on this design. So those use the coordinate that come from looking at this block right here. Now for the second coordinate, you just look at the left of the comparators and just take that coordinate right here. So it should be right one and up one from the other coordinate that you just copied. So that's, like I said, as user-friendly as I could possibly get it. It just requires two exact coordinates instead of hundreds and hundreds of exact coordinates. And also, one of the cool things about this is since you're basically taking the information from the frequency transmitter and sending it to the database instead of the database trying to retrieve it, this allows us to have multiple transmitters with different combinations. So you could see if I activate this one, it'll say teleport to end, and then say you get teleported to the end, you press this button and it teleports you to spawn. And you could just keep going back and forth, or you could set different frequencies to go to different areas. And so you could see that you could have as many of these as you want. So for example, if you put this in an adventure map like the Super Hostile series, then you could have a teleporter or multiple frequency transmitters everywhere that you could select the frequency that you want. And you could see kind of over here I have a little display that shows what frequencies do what, and so you could do multiple stuff like that. And for some reason that is going higher than normal. I don't know why. So that is a very helpful thing, or you could just have signs that say where to go, or a book with frequencies or something like that. And this allows you to teleport to different areas throughout the map. Like for example, the Super Hostile maps, you have intersections, you have the Victory Monument, and different things like that. And so another thing I do want to mention is if you know this design right here, which was the map, it checked if you had a filled map, then it would give you an empty map, and then it would teleport basically this whole transmitter itself to your location. And you could actually do that with this design right here, because since all the commands that have to do with the transmitter are local, and then the only one that is not local is the exact coordinates that go to the database, you could duplicate these command blocks and they would do exactly the same thing if you put them somewhere else throughout your map. Now the only huge issue with this is you could only build it facing north if you use this database right here, or I will have to create another database that faces south, east, and west. So eventually in a map, I'm gonna have a map download in the descriptions if you want to mess around with this, but I will currently have a map download that looks just like this right here, but I'll have one for facing each direction. So you just copy the direction that you want and put that into your world facing the direction that you chose. Or I will also have schematics for each facing direction, and eventually, not entirely sure how soon because it's going to take quite some time, but eventually I will have a download that will have every single possible frequency. So so it's gonna take some time. I'm gonna have it facing all 4 directions as well, so I will have to work on that. So you could check back in maybe a week. I might comment and say that the download is ready or something like that. Also, as a map maker or user of this machine, if you want this to have a custom output for whatever you want, just follow these command blocks right here. These ones are the outputs. So you can see this one says, say, TP to spawn, nether, end, and then I just have it counting up from there. You could just put in whatever command blocks you want in, or whatever commands you want into there, and those are the output command blocks. And they also correspond to the same layer. So if you follow this, you can see it's at 000. Just follow that across, and this is the command that goes along with that combination. And I think that's about it. Oh, also, one more feature, I keep forgetting about this, is you can see that once I select a frequency, like for example, if I select 000, you can see it says TP to spawn, but then if I click it again, it does nothing. And this is a little bit of an issue if you have a teleporter, especially if you have multiple people on one map, because they might use the same teleporter over and over again. So all you have to do is, I made a really nice easy way to do this. You just place a comparator or a repeater here at full ticks, and all that does is it does this command right here twice, but with a delay. So the first time it sends the redstone, these are currently on and it tests for them as positive, and then these get updated and they shut off, and by the time the second time it updates, or second time it sends the redstone, those are off, so then it tests for all of them as negative. So you can see, let me just update it real fast. You can see if I click the button, it says TP to spawn, and I could keep doing this as much as I want. So you could have multiple users using the same teleporter, and it could just keep teleporting them if you want, or different things like that. And now I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.